Welcome to Floating in Dreams. Welcome to my concealer collection for 2025. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. Today we're going to be doing part 2 of my makeup collection series, and today we are going to be talking about concealers. I've already chatted with you about foundations, and I like doing these videos to prepare myself before I actually declutter my makeup collection, because I have so much makeup that sometimes I just need to be reminded of what I have. And if I split it up between, like, showing you the products and just chatting about my favorites, then I just feel a lot better about what I want to declutter and what I don't want to declutter. I'm going to be swatching these for you as well, and I'm going to be doing this for many other categories as well. Blush, bronzer, highlighter. I'm going to be doing this for lips. I'm probably going to go over a lot of my single shadows as well. And I do want to apologize if there's any music in the background, but I believe someone is getting married in my neighborhood, so there is a lot of really loud music outside. I've already closed all the windows and all the doors to keep as much of the sound out as possible, but this is the best I can do, so I do apologize. So I just have these two little organizers from IKEA that I keep everything in. These are most of my doe foot applicator concealers. In here I've got some correctors and like chunkier things that didn't really fit in here anymore. So let's just get to it. Okay, so here's the entire overview of all of the concealers in my collection. I have some potted things here. I only have 2 correctors, so maybe we can start there. I've decluttered all of my other correctors because I just didn't love them as much. This is by Peripera. It's their ink corrector in peach. It's long been discontinued, and this is the under eye brightener from Catrice. You know what? I think I can actually get away with just keeping one. The under eye brightener from Catrice is such a hype. They've released other shades of this. It's still around. They are even now doing an under eye primer, under eye powder in this line because it's so popular. And this very much reminds me of how I've heard people talk about the Becca, what's it called? The under eye brightener from Becca. I don't remember what that's called, but here's what the Catrice Light one looks on me. And the Peripera, and it's really good as far as correcting goes. It definitely does a good job, but this is just not something I necessarily need in my life. Then I have 3 of these potted concealers, which I do really enjoy all 3 of these. This one is by REM Beauty, this is by RMS, and this is by Glossier. I really enjoy all 3 of these. The Glossier is my long-standing favorite, so I don't see this going anywhere anytime soon. This is in G12. This is still their old shade, but this still works beautifully for me. If I want that very dewy, lightweight skin tone, then this is the thing I go for. It's super light. They have changed their shade range though, so I don't know what this is called in the new shade range. This is the REM Beauty in Light 5N. This is really pretty, but this was released, or I bought this before they ever had foundations. And now I'm like, I would have preferred to try the foundation over the concealer perhaps, but this is a little bit thicker, and it's also a slightly different shade to the Glossier. And then the RMS Beauty, this is the Uncoverup concealer in shade 00. And here I'm like, this may have to go. It feels very dry, but I think I can still sort of push through if I warm it up with my fingers. So this can be brought back to life if it does feel a little bit dry, but this, I just think it still smells okay, but I just think that this is on its last legs. I didn't use it enough, and this was actually a little bit too yellow for me as well. So if I were to keep just 2 of them, this is a bit more peach, this is a bit more pink. So I like the REM Beauty and the Glossier a lot more for me. Let's see, what do I have that's drugstore? These are all drugstore, well, K-Beauty and drugstore, let's put it that way. And then drugstore. Oh, I've tried quite a few drugstore ones. I'm happy about that. I never know how much I have from one thing, so let's do the drugstore ones first. With drugstore based products, I do struggle sometimes finding my shades, so that's usually an issue, and that's why I very often will declutter things. I did put some of these in my makeup favorites and use up projects. This was in my 2024 makeup favorites because I loved it so much, but the Maybelline Superstay Activewear in shade 5 seems to already have been discontinued. So I don't know if this is still around, but here is what that looks like. The e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer I did like a lot better than the original e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I have mine in Fair Beige. And this is pretty, but this is not one I think of. And I just don't love these like massive doe foots. I just don't love that with this one. The Kiko Skin Tone Concealer, which I was trying to use up in my December Shop My Stash, I didn't quite manage it, and because it's been on its side, it looks like there's a lot more product in here than there actually is, but I can like look inside on the edges, and there's product on the edge of this, but there is no product around the doe foot anymore. So as I was using it the last few times, there was very little product on the doe foot actually, and because it's all the way stuck inside, it doesn't quite work. But this is such a lovely shade for me. Even when I can't use this anymore, I am going to repurchase it straight away. It's super cheap. It doesn't come with a whole lot of product, but this is great for travel. And then a similar sized concealer, but from the K-Beauty realm, is by the Saem. This is their Cover Perfection Tip Concealer in shade 05. I think Fair Beige or something like that. This is very similar to the Kiko one. If you have that, you don't need this one per se. This is just a little bit lighter. So shade-wise, I think there are more shades in the Saem than there are in the Kiko, but yeah, this is a lovely product. Another Kiko concealer, one that I didn't love because it just doesn't really go with my dry skin, but this is the Full Coverage Dark Circles Concealer in shade 1. This is also a little bit too yellow for me, so I wasn't a huge fan, but here is what that Kiko concealer looks like. So the other Kiko concealer is right on top. You can see it's far peachier pink, and this is a lot more yellow toned. This is, did I say it's in shade 1? Then the Eveline Cosmetics Wonder Match. I also have the matching foundation to this. This is the Wonder Match Lumi, and this is in shade Vanilla number 10. And Eveline Cosmetics is a Polish drugstore brand. I find them on Notino, and they do some really lovely things. But here again, I just think it's a little bit too yellow toned for it to really work for me very well. So it was a lovely concealer. I did really enjoy the texture of it, but shade-wise, it's not perfect. And then the 16-hour Stay All Day Concealer from Essence. This is a long-standing favorite in my collection. This is my 3rd or 4th tube. That's how much I've used this. It's insane how long I've had this around in my collection for. I do believe that this is now called something different. I think it's now called the 14-hour or 24-hour. They've changed the name of it and they've reformulated it slightly. And they've extended the shade range, because when I was buying this, it only came in 2 shades. But here is what the Essence looks like. And I have another one that wasn't super successful for me, but this is by Peripera. This is their Double Long Wear Cover Concealer in shade 1, Pure Ivory. This was also a little bit too yellow for me. I didn't love it for that reason. And it just oxidized a little bit. So this dries down even deeper than it already is. And then we have my L'Oreal True Match Radiant Serum Concealer in shade 1R. This is light. And this I was hoping was going to be nice. It is definitely a dupe for this guy right here. And I like that one a little bit better. It has a very similar sized, styled applicator. This is a little bit peachier, so shade-wise, this is one of the better ones from the drugstore for me, because it has a bit more of that peach tone to it, so then it color corrects at the same time for me. So that's usually what I'm looking for, but it was still too dark. Like if you look at some of my favorites, which are up here, you can tell that this is just far deeper than any of the shades up here. Like this is sort of my sweet spot. Then we have the Milk Makeup Future Fluid here. This is a really lovely product. This is in 2C, which is actually a little bit light for me for once. It has a very interesting doe foot. There we have it. And the light is just not cooperating today as well. But yeah, it's super light. It does work really well, and I do enjoy this product. I haven't heard a lot of people talking about this though. A lot of other Milk makeup products have been hyped up, but not this one. And then these two big guys, because these are, I think these come with quite a lot of product as well. I'm not sure how much the Estee Lauder comes in with anymore, but I know the YSL comes with 11 milliliters of product. It doesn't say on the Estee Lauder, but this is the Futurist Hydra Rescue Soft Touch Brightening Concealer in 1C. This is also, again, pretty light. I think it has an interesting doe foot. And then if I swatch it right there, you can again see it's a touch too yellow for me. I like it. I'm gonna keep it because this was expensive, and I really like the formula of this one. So it sort of goes with the Futurist Hydra Rescue foundation, which is one of my all-time favorites. And then I have my YSL All Hours Concealer. I love this thing to pieces. Mine is an LC1. This is again a little bit more yellow toned, which is again not perfect. But I do feel that these shades are quite similar actually. So if I'm going to keep, like, this is even darker, like the L'Oreal one. I think that was the L'Oreal one. It's even darker than these two are. Then I have a Fenty Beauty Concealer. This is the Wear Even Concealer in 150N, which you might think, that's a high number. But I felt that the lighter shades didn't have the right undertone, so sometimes I go for something that's perhaps a little bit darker than what you might expect, but then the undertone is just a little bit better for me. Rare Beauty, this is their under eye brightener thing. This is in shade fair, no, shade light. This is the lightest one they do. It has one of those metallic ball applicators, which I don't love, but you know, this is good. It's got a pretty shade, it's pretty light, but it's very yellow toned. The only thing I don't like about this is that it really only works on the under eye area. This is not going to work for you if you try using it anywhere else. My Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Radiant Concealer in shade 4 Fair. This is lovely, but I haven't thought of this concealer in such a long time. Like, I'm not using it at all. It's got a nice peach tone to it. Like, very often if it has a bit more of a peachy undertone, then it has a bit more pink. So I tend to like that in a concealer because then it kind of color corrects at the same time for me. So I do like that. Tower 28, the Swipe On Concealer in CC. This is number 3. This is a little bit yellow, but it has, let me see with the light where I can hold my hand. You can still see it. There we have that one. It is a bit too yellow tone, but I love, 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 love the actual like product of this. The formula of this is so, so nice. Then I have the Gucci concealer here. This is in shade 17W. This is another shade, like another concealer I actually had to find in store what the right shade for me would be because I wasn't sure. So here's what the Gucci looks like. Natasha Denona, we have already found when I filmed an overview of my favorite cooler tone concealers in 2024, that this is actually the most pink tone thing I own. This is the High Glam Concealer in shade R2. Where to put it? So here we have the Natasha Denona. It's definitely the coolest toned option I have in all of these. And finally, we have the Kosas Revealer Concealer in shade 1.5. This was so hyped up and I really wanted to try it. And then I tried it and I was like, yeah, I like it, but I don't love this formula as much as everybody else does. This is really good if you have more normal skin, I think. For my dry skin, it wasn't quite right. And finally, the Haus Labs, another concealer that was very much hyped up. I have mine in shade 3. This is very light. So it's definitely light enough for me, but it was a little bit thicker and I didn't like this as much as I did the foundation. So the foundation was a favorite for me. This concealer I didn't like as much, but it is a really good shade for me. And those are all of the concealers that I have. I am filming this last bit just with my studio lighting, so that's why it looks perhaps a bit weird because I have no light anymore coming from the back, but there is a bit too much sunlight. So I did have to close my curtain all the way. But yeah, these are all of the concealers I have. Loads of different shades, as you can see. Most of these do still work for me. But I can just tell from swatching, for instance, I don't know anymore what this was. I think it was the Charlotte Tilbury one. It looks so orange on my skin. So again, when it's time to declutter, I think like it still fits. So I don't have to declutter because it all fits in my collection just fine. But I do think I need to get rid of just a few of these just to color it a little bit. And I also think that the Peripera thing is just a little bit too orange. I think something pinky toned like the Catrice is much better for me. And also of these like 3 potted concealers, this is far more yellow tone than the REM Beauty and the Glossier one are. Like actually now that they've dried down, the REM and the Glossier are actually really close together, which I hadn't expected. But yeah, you can sort of see where my comfort zone is shade-wise. It's like right up here. Those are like my favorite shades. And then I have a couple more of these super light things over here. And actually, now that I look at it, I think this was the Estee Lauder one. And this was my YSL one. And they're also really close. But when they dry down, they aren't that yellow anymore. They actually look a little bit more pink toned. Like the other things up top, like this is straight up orange. And the one next to it as well. So I definitely need to do a bit of a cull here, but I don't think it has to be too much. So thank you so very much for joining me here today, for watching my concealer collection. This was short and sweet because I don't have that many concealers compared to like foundations, but I did test most of these out for you in 2024. So we'll link you to some videos down below that will help you out there. I also have full reviews up with a lot of these products over on the blog, if not all of them really. So if you want to see what this looks like on my face and what it looks like when it's blended out, then you can see all of that goodness as well. So I'll make sure to link you to my concealer review tab on the blog as well. And if these are still available, I will have some shopping links for you as well. Those may be affiliated though. So thanks so much for joining me here today. Please remember that this is only part 2 of like a 6 to 7 part series that I'm doing over on the channel in February. So if you'd like to come back for more, I do post 4 videos a week normally on this channel. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this one today and that I see you again in the next one. Thumbs up this video in the meantime. Subscribe if you want to stay updated to when I post new videos. And then I hope you have a really, really great day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.